One man spoke, and that was that.
Please, how do you keep calm when people criticize your actions?
What?
How do you keep calm when people criticize your actions? Please, how do you keep calm when people criticize your actions?
What?
How do you keep calm when people criticize your actions?
How do I keep calm when they criticize my actions? First of all, I think that that's a system of government that I've always wanted for this country. A country whereby presidents, people in authority, ministers, presidents, whoever you are, can be criticized. There was a time in Ghana when it wasn't like that, when one man spoke and that was that. I've never liked that sort of situation because I don't believe that you have a situation whereby one man knows everything. It's better to have a system where lots of ideas and lots of brains are brought forward to one thing. So that's the first thing, is that I approve of the system whereby people can criticize the president. So if that happens, it will look strange if I start getting agitated when people are criticizing me. I'm not God. I cannot be. None of us are. But we do our best. But criticism is a good thing. It helps you sometimes see things that you yourself have not seen. It opens up different perspectives. A lot of times you can disagree with your critics, but sometimes there's something in the criticism that is of use and of benefit which you can use to do. So that's the reason why I don't get agitated when people criticize me. I think it is their right to do so. But it's just as if it is my right also to ignore their criticism if I think that there's no substance in it. That's the system.
Also, and right, Jino, Nam said there be the mate and on yet. And was saying, I'll get back to you, Mountain and Cabin. And you remember my bread. May could fear me to care, Metin said, nothing. Say, how? This guy is harmless. Erica Jeffrey Bonoho, Sammy Janfrey Bonoho, Omabato Yampia, Diatame Moadie. And Nam say, Yang, accommodating. Now, we didn't have anything to hide in Tino. They had their leeway. Any premier no musufre bono hono mu atokro na mu abronya ni baba mando wo mo de yanwo mu nti mebo ana yanwo mu eno kroye na Kofi Dwuma tra America over 49 years wa bobra New Jersey former mayor na contact national no so what you say Kofi Ghana nya na Kofi Ghana wa bobra na motima wura ni fie mo kwanso amamfa main gate o mini o ma fafie na ti sei akos bubunet no wo fie wo nyina enra me hu video na yansa sembe na akos areho ukrati sembe ni areho ukrati sembe ni areho na ya kachire Ghana fo eno de yebekwaso aka kachire sasa brunsam oba osani atutu firi no oba biewo ahonhom no doso do mama free set 2016 no Ghana ye bone nti obetua ya soka Penifos wo tua yen soka sene kontrofi kotua atrofi. What you say? Wo tua yen soka sene kontrofi kotua atrofi. Wo de makwachi seyani. En wo brim yen. En wo ka chesi yesu oba boyen. Ye to so adem from ebe kwa yire ye to. O man be ewo mu no. And that is typical of this. Very wicked. Na yen security no air form no. Hwe de wo koye. Ediba be kura na mranche wo mu kan ya odi we mu wo mu Kevin Taylor krati wo Captain Smart wati wo Sammy Jamfi wati wo Sam George ti wo Odoba wati wo Okuje tabla kwati wo Akando ti wo these elements these materials wo mu krampo no you carry them no wonder Ghana's progress is retrogressing these elements empty headed you say one more cry carry them. Now you are more crampo. Look, one more mama no or cafu cheubia. And no 2012, 2016. In some say yan would dear, other one kai tobra. One kai Captain Koda. One kai Abua Papon. One kai Kene Japan. One kai Abuabia Samoa. won kai tijani amani mo on kai eyori say
ye mu nyina
won kai o mari wade
ye che mu nyina
won kai Fadi Dabusi under John Dramani Mahama na kodru ba bia de wi amo ye Europe na Japan na President Kufuor eko bie na no kan sakoko na atia bankumba nkrase kasa pani a wanyina duru sei enso ka che President Kufuor enso
was fine ye
we are one of the greatest beneficiaries of President Kufuor wonu unu nyina wan tuana mama mfanya nsan kasa pani me ferifo o kasa tra
was fine ye
o kasa tra
ye di bulldozer ene beku no ye di bulldozer
enti obi a wo no hye aboni ade no. And look, let me quote something from here. And the quote is also. When you Mikata Anubako, indispensable philosophical quote for strategic political management and leadership. When you page 54.158. Or say, bad politicians are often the authors of their own disgrace. For in their reckless quest to destroy others, they unwittingly write their own judgment. In making their opponents appear filthy, they expose the filth within their own souls, unmeasured, unkind, and unwise. They hide their own dirty linings for the world to see, thinking they are whitening their garments, forgetting that the stench of cruelty clings to all who wield it. They forget that to err is human, and in denying this truth to others, they condemn themselves to the same ruthless standard tomorrow. They are no more say because your party. So Osha Kufuor anim, Osha Kufuor anim, Kwame Addo Kufuor anim, Hackman anim, Makekwe monim, Odoi Sykes nom, any penifo nya bikwa. Wo munye ni pafon, waka say, wo mo embodi mi a mesmiko kabie. Enti penifo standard inti masa ye stubborn o.
Nenk
ya stubborn pa na emo no hwe penifo no a aduane a wa metno ma mi jaso ya na echi.
Dabi.
Eni ntino ya hwa. Imagine say metie makanye ma nye pa na bia ye say Kufuor Addo frew na ye ka say me mentor Kufuor wo frew na de kwa fra kobepo no so enti eduru ba bia checks wo ho na ntisa dia wo mun krofo nkrase dia wo mun no mo ye no masa ene ya tie asidwom o ti ase imagine say metie cancer nwunu na ba o mia frem say me nu kumabra. How will I even conduct myself before because you want to tell and a man sama ye and kasa de ebeka ba MPP ye kasa ni nyan ya gini sese ne ba o man de benya ho mfaso o man ya yet me the free SHS aba ko kan de betuma ya o se pad ni crash sem na Ghana for asum na de wadani goalkeeper and what toto a pad atokoso pad we de o ye cheap Kufuor Addo and the cast what the pad be ba Kobedi kasi one district one factory. Now there are no Kufuor one district. Said there be a part. Ente na wo sika kotu aguo. Common sense should tell is your mama. Se wunu apani uofa. Kufuor Addo etninya nyansa so ye one district. I was sent out me room. Nanka seska no. O first I would 290 million. Second I 290 million. Meanwhile 24-hour economy. You promise sika mo budget $4 billion. And so as it stands now, scam with me 110 million. And so 110 pad. Edu baby crowd ya usebo wow manifesto no say mo besia dwaye o school bia.
This is about 350 as I say.
O besia dwaye let me
go school bia.
E wo school bia mu.
Okay.
The man bu yensa na yakọ na wo mu akọ honom na wo ma akọ yi akọ huru yensa. Bossa di akọ wo shebi papa. I'll look for it. Ewa ha. One more manifesto no. Oh. O say. Nka du krampo de nka ye.
Say me put the action.
The buy say if it's up a bus short bus here vox here ben. Obi dey say the value no the man so nko twa 800,000 Ghana cedis. Obi so the container say 40-foot container ba. The man twa 80,000 Ghana cedis. All of a sudden, ade buy last week so nko twa 600,000. I don't know 80,000. Less than 100,000 no. I feel this one could try 600,000 as brought by AI. Who appeal na AI na sa reject who appeal that with the buyer. Enti e be hwe me no ka say ma me ka straight away. Me nua baba Amando Yenina ye ba ye penny papa ya down for your fast na baba amando MPP ni mapa. Judge be the natum enra. And tia menya ne say what the cantonment police of a police station. But CCA signals are me picky HSA and bi higher authority omo frefre say baby awadana why you too comfortable for him. It will munyi free ho and fan ko baby from me modi but my prepare boys be was sell o munyi free say and fan ko lo mo no e was cells inside ho. We are monitoring. And what open copa mo pa mo nko yi na bisa bontina mo nku no. Say say Ghana baby abedru de kan ka bia ban ne wo so. Obeti pa twaliti wa bontin. But said the onu aka ye no wa sha no hodin. Osi JB dan kwa boe de ye no he is nowhere near JB dan kwa bra bobo no man mu ni viase. It was no JB dan kwa boe ni say ya na wo no. Ya bra ko be fi pacho emu akwa ba bibia boko.
Onya metiase.
Books with the watro oti bi so abane. Okay. Na enra many the roll call. Court 9 circuit court 9. Share yenu and sit now omodene kwan bo omodene faso na afedo market wie o kasai ono ba afedo market leader of the mighty minority o kasai na woni ba fo wa mpodie menenam na udwane he had to flee the scene because that place na ba be a crime scene also ba fo wa won se do sitie ya tete no to o kasai ho te na wase wo suro se wa hwe obeka asem bi ama I implicate and I said just a bend that the court to settle level on one consequence kwa ni ntino udwane ko say the came free.
Granted, the accused person would interfere in investigation. This is a country we find ourselves. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, I am again appealing to my Lord Bafu Boni, our respected head of the judiciary, to watch some of these practices. It is sad, oh, a year ago, the Air Coast of Ghana, a year ago, said judge who comes into a court with his mind already prejudiced, he's made up his mind, and even when there is no application for detention, he says that for him the accused would interfere. The man has been reporting to the police. When the police needed him, he was there, and the police themselves attested to that.
Yes, I will the officer of the court, but N0nsense was chief justice say or major records of proceedings that will be now with me should be via while we will take a decision be on the second court judge. Yeah, young dear Cosso, I just
Medasi. Ma menchia a tifo, military and human.
When you dear woman that say who said back on I need us all. But what dream? Na me ho dunket ya. Ya be bodu de wo hu ntim nya fa bie mu.
Outlook. Opam what me say be ma pam.
We see nyina say nyina e fools. So na what say?
Oh ne ho ye.
Beti ni ka chi.
The idiom of our time. And I said don ma me ye bibi na ye wadwen say. The war ye no we dey be ka tunu for. Da bi o wa bani was wa try be careful.
On teafu tu. What dey tro.
And anka de tie nso ni say. En kamera ti se we say no o my bambo no hu hia ye nkese hia ye kese hwe se brekum Chelsea fo akobo ball ye ba security a enye nti baby ani kwam ni abekum ayi footballer
we the Ghana the minti be that
what you say
when Mr. President Mahama Balo you position leader e ka say am robbery koso under the
one the wo hu ayi
one the wo hu
oba ye na ne doba sami jamfi na ye kokun no
nasi
okasa se pani
nasi o
onyame nsoma no se na David kai no man ka kasa boni
yeah.
But enye wonye nipa o ye Ghanaian o ye anti Ghanaian ni sune ne ba ne nye Ghanaian ya tete no ne papa eya na o ye eyi Jomama papa
aye
so we study history ni ade a on tisa. Your mama is a different person.
No friend.
Baby, your friend when him. Even so, the Amrantia no one be there. Yes, sir, it impairs your judgment.
Na baba kwa we said was we skenino. Baba is more
it impairs your
human relationship far. Baba Ibrahim.
Oh, na say Ibrahim there. One on a fair career. And I win him.
But eventually, no, you are proving right.
Yes, Massa, me no papa ne cool school, no one yard, the men and I'm children at the intimate. Come free. Nothing of him.
I fed a gilly.
Oh, papa nickname crab number. Anyway, at your boy, just by the way.
I will forget
Song. Dear Beno is sadist, and he takes interest. Se nipa kwa huchire mu a
na ni agi
yes when is meeting say or perpetuate wickedness against humanity na nije that is typical of John Dramani
and he looks down upon people
yes say onu ankasa ne SSS no psychologists will tell you say onu ankasa no obi a wonni respect ema nipa obi a wonmu nipa no ne self esteem of form yeah one of the secrets of the protecting home. Saudi Hudi now resilient level. I was so now you will be a fan say cherish your esteem you respect every human being.
Yes.
Into one year dictator, 1 year manipulators like your mama no. You woman soon or mobile. So what you say? Because emra you woman year insecurity. Things are falling apart. Ya kobo bolaba. Ya kokum de kum ni this year. Emre ye mia minua baba kumadam fo pa nyanchen Adepa pharmacy
wo se kokuni kunu
ne kunu na fe de de nam se o no no na ekune ho papa no responsible papa ade ba chi bia yakum nipa o mai mu and instead of being responsible hwe de wo ye papa ankwani mu nte nia wo ye na nyenti no you think say Ube used to this kind of a idea no na meboa nanro ye dia bronya kwa no pa no me fra bronye eno so say me fra kwajo upon krom wi a senior I'll get back to you but time of friend me no ma ye engaged then me fra baba Amando me fra no na ni phone adum na me fra eye am ya kire me honorable and am say baba phone adum also enro ye jai no na am say da bi dia metie no nye and was saying I'll get back to you man tin can be and you remember my bread me ko fie me take care meeting said nothing say how this guy is harmless Erica Jeffrey bunu ho Sami Jamfi free bunu ho omo beto yampie diatame muade and nam say yen accommodating now we didn't have anything to hide into they had their leeway. Enipa mienu omu sufri bono hono mu atokrokro na mu abronya ni baba Amando wo mo de yanwo mu nti mebo ana
yanwo mu
enro kroye na Kofi Juma tra America over 49 years wa Bobra New Jersey former mayor na kunta nasino no so what you say Kofi Ghana nya na Kofi Ghana wa Bobra na motima wura ni fie mo kwanso amamfa main gate o mini o ma fafie na chi sei akos bubunet no a wo fie wo nyina
enra me hu video na
yansa sembe na ekos
areho
krasi sembe ni
areho
krasi sembe ni
areho
na ya ka kire Ghana fo eno de yebekọ so aka ka kire sesa brunsam oba osani etutu firi no mo oba biewu ahonhom no dọọso jo mama free set 2062 no Ghana ye bone ntu obetua ya soka panimfo so otua yen soka sani ya kontrofi kotua atrohwe oti ase otua yen soka sani ya kontrofi kotua atrohwe wode makwachi seyani en wa brim yen en na waka chesi yesu oba boyen ye to nso so ade mframa be kwa wa yire ye to o man ba bi ewom no and that is typical of this very wicked na yen security no air form no hwe de wokoye ade ba kura na mranche wo mo kan ya odi we mo wo mo Kevin Taylor krati wo Captain Smart wati wo Sami Jamfi wati wo
Sam George ti wo
Odoba wati wo
okuje to abla
kwatiwo akando tiwo. These elements, these materials, wamu krampo no, you carry them. No wonder Ghana's progress is retrogressing. This element, empty-headed, you will say. Wamu kra carry them. Now you wamu krampo. Look, one mama no okafun che obia.
No.
2012, 2016. Nse wunu say ya no di ye ade won kai atobra. Won kai Captain Koda. Won kai Abua Papon. Won kai Kene Japan. Won kai Abua Bia Samoa. Won kai Tijani. And many more on kai
yeti omunyina.
Won kai Omari Wadie.
Yeti omunyina.
Won kai Fadi Dabusi. Under John Dramani Mama. Na kodru baabi a de wi a mo ye Yewura Kene Japan. Na President Kufuor eko bie na no kan sakoko na tia bankumba nkurase kasa pani a wanyina duru sei enso ka che President Kufuor enso
was why nie
we are one of the greatest beneficiaries of President Kufuor oni unu nyina wan tuana mama mfanya nsan kasa pani me ferifo o kasa tra
was why nie
o kasa tra
ya the bulldozer ene beku no ya the bulldozer
enti obi a wo no hye boni adeade ene adeade no ene look, let me quote something from here. And the quote in Subedoso. When you mekrata no bako indispensable philosophical quote for strategic political management and leadership. Because your party, so if you Kufuor Addo anim, if you Kufuor anim, Kwame Addo Kufuor anim, Hackman anim, Makekwe mo anim. Atiasi jom. Otiasi. Imagine somebody can say wunu na ba omia frame say menu kumabra. How will I even conduct myself before him? 10 million. Meanwhile, 24-hour economy. You promise sika mo budget $4 billion. And so as it stands now, sika mo dey to me 110 million. And so 110 pad. Edu baby crowd dey wo sebo. Wow manifesto no mu say mo be si adwaye o school bia.
Say be 350 as say.
Wo be si adwaye. Oh, let me
go school bia.
E wo school bia mu. The man bu yensa. Ni akohonom na womu akohonom na womu akoye yi akohuru yensa bossa di akwa wo shebi papa I'll look for it e wo ha womu manifesto num o shey nka du kura mpo de nkaye
say me body a kire
me dasi but mesa mabaso ninia ba bia koduro no ye kum nipa boni a wudi entu no nuanom ewia mine gold na Kufuor Addo ba ya Anglo gold de na guo etinanka wo legitimate ayi say ene menton but odwene hwa kanti no wo se da bi yenye ne achechira aboa no ha ne gya no entina na sa tu abedi adanse se ha eduru ba bi ne ton ka prekura ye nto wada roma na wo de wo ba na daman wo mo de at least no na aso so atiase ye renew ma wo mo asempene me de ama menua miensa ana de ama unua na wo ana odi achi na ye nkurase de na John Mama ide bi ne wo to ma ne nua koto bi atoma ne nuanom na ya wo to ma ne nuanom wo de nifa kwa no afa benkum ade na de play ya Ibrahim wo de ne di na age kan bebebe John Mama dia I'm telling you
and I said President Mahama can say and what you say you won't done say
because the okache Kufuor Addo what the gabi and na wadi bedi atuo and wadi ofori ata because na nase o yakokra nto moyi and the Kufuor Addo kan no so num nyansa na osua de enukre empanifo mo nyina duru sa no wonya ba di administration research shows o mo ntanye corrupt as compared to young guys no and it's so manifesting enye okwabrane etmi akofa oni se kwansusua 90 billion na kokra wo dwene hwe kan ya obeye saade no
kwansusa
John Mama na be masa kwame yaye wonchi sa criminals we nkotu mu baba mando na akochi na tum onyame yo ho oti ase mama kan another ayi emfanchiro wo mo ya no mo wo sire papa so ho ya na omo wo sire na omo emmampa esempanimfu edi enso no we can't disappoint Bawumia e wo niema bi kasa bi a it is indecent yentimi na ke no mo be yire papa
okay abra wo hwehwe no na naje ba fo wa equotation bi a me sakan wo de hwehwe yi no we say all too often when we see injustices both great and small we think that's terrible but we do nothing We say nothing. We let other people fight their own battles. We remain silent because silence is easier. And also silence gives consent. When you say nothing, when you do nothing, we are consenting to these trespasses against us. Okay, it's way a year. Roseanne Gay, bad feminist, or the quotation, and I will know what they buy. You do be see something, say something.
Yes.
Young to us about.
Yeah. Was it where so me kata name a 0.3756. When lies become the currency of power and propaganda overshadows truth, a nation does not merely lose its way, it begins to decay from within. Ethical communication, once the lifeblood of democracy, is poisoned by deception, eroding trust between leaders and the people. A society that normalizes falsehood for political gain may win temporary battles, but it sacrifices its moral foundation in the process. Without truth, governance becomes manipulation, and exactly that is what's happening. The more you be and you no correct, it is under the you manipulating crowd. Young King Casabuan share but down Kwabuzia Dombu tradition. One of the distinct traits of young tradition is a young Candipa Casabuan share. Young Candipa Casabuan share. Thought you without truth, governance becomes manipulation. More bokron into your car. Mobaye. Leadership turns into coercion. Leadership turns into coercion, and public discourse descends into chaos. But history teaches us a sobering lesson. No matter how deeply truth is buried, it never remains hidden forever. And when it rises, as it always does, it will expose and dismantle those who built their power on deceit, leaving them to be remembered not as visionaries, but as the architects of their own downfall. Me translate my politics, any communication, any philosophy, any religion, a boom.
Now the fingers are changing.
Oh, common sense, say the actually. Say to me, what you know, young Fako Crocco near me. So the contemporary Nabrabasi Fapimoa. And Manimono dear, Ubenya dear Ope. But the chain is so better, Nebu, and exactly that is what is happening to your mama. A bunny sanwa, now persuade the cuckoo dear mim. Oh, come Crofon Casabwatch. Now let me go to the Anope I'm sorry, dear no meboa.
Mammy, they be. Yes. Yet also, I was for a higher movement television, mine yard Makubefi, and na Eddie and Kubon was say,
yes, for control. Their rise often feels swift, even unstoppable, but their fall is always heavier than their ascent. Was it to me, Biano, a whoopah? Wouldn't contemporary Nabraba? Now Kiku and Massichrena, some passing at your mamma see ye drew baby ya will soon ya the idea. Was you been at your penny money mood ye? Then so we know to a daddy. It reinforces Jeremiah 17:11. Or senior open when yan the train equansono. What is Sako Corridio Butum Kosia, anyone the 2 years so. Obebuni na mufa Ejafa, Eviano, Obedia, Okwasia.
Yeah.
And clearly, this is what he said. It is Mamma 2 instances. Idi Amin, any Adolf Hitler.
Okay.
Consider the tragic arc of Adolf Hitler. He rose not merely through force, but through a careful crafted image. Or Chasiano. To say your mama pepe. Or can someone fad? Ahunjuani ade.
Yes, we didn't hold you.
Yes.
Or bois.
He rose not merely through force, but through a carefully crafted image. Speaking the language of national pride, restoration, and unity. Yet, beneath that rhetoric lived brutality, intolerance, and calculated manipulation. Adolf Hitler, Subayani, your mama. Modern day Adolf Hitler. Nikasa, that down. Jordia Bedrono. Jordia Bedrono.
Nurses for.
Nasa nurses for a woman first to move. A brave woman, Beko. Mammy Trasso, or say intolerance and calculated manipulation. When dissent grew, he did not correct cause. He crushed it. baba yi amadu be kasa abronye be kasa adumako be afi be kasa kofi ofosu be kasa enitim be kan yache. Is that the point?
Yeah, miam.
Na sa John mama ne nkofo ni munyansa abranti afen wasi so ane papa hwe no mo achi na to ma ne papa wu mo kum kofi ofosu papa mo ni munyansa mo nwene ene wo mo nya ready because anwa o mo kra yo mo ye emwa wo mo what you say because ugly announcement welcomes ugly frown. Say ya bana you against obedin samfon dia and ya wo mo na wo din da so e say John mama person wo ba nsehunu because one so no you are an epitome of those things.
My fra brand was a bit my baba me sabi wo me kolongo me tim papa nchen wo yare etika moma me kwale wukra da memra
I would for party
wo se me ma mempene or bias ma ba create scene ama Ghana baby ate se ye chiko fifo so nka sa hye na jo.
Yes KiII
papa de tie ya
what say when the scent grew he did not correct the cause, he crushed it, silencing voices, bending institutions and weaponizing the justice system. Said you no kosi ye
ayo
what you say for a time it appeared effective, but the very machinery of suppression he built became the furnace that consumed him, ending not in triumph but in ruin, disgrace and inevitable devastation. Shasia no munchinitum yamuru yankum we adofit lewo ekosi say na so lasting John mama mompa esense ngura odi kire Ghana no its effect e be lasting the negative on na busia
na idia media ne
meba
okay
or reflect on Robert Mugabe, once celebrated as a liberator. He gradually wrapped authoritarian control in the cloth of patriotism. Critics were branded enemies. Freedoms narrowed and institutions weakened under the weight of personal power. The early approach turned into silent fear and eventually into economic collapse and political isolation. His legacy, once radiant, became a cautionary tale of how quickly honor decays when power abandons humility. These are not merely historical episodes, they are philosophical warnings etched in human experience. When a leader senses exposure and responds not with introspection but with repression, arrest instead of answers, intimidation instead of integrity, control instead of correction, they accelerate their own undoing. The abuse of human rights is not a shield, it is a confession of weakness. The suffocation of free speech is not stability, it is the silence before a storm. Here, then, is the enduring philosophical truth your reflection demands. When wickedness learns to speak the language of virtue, it becomes the most dangerous force in society.
Okay.
I take about me say the most dangerous poison. Any poisoner, it tastes a tasty sugar. And that is typical of your mama.
Maybe see uncle trade for
ye Germano. Uncle Sunoye.
Eric,
but Bibian will be free. Member trade is with my mother. President Kwame Nkrumah, he started so well. Nanya me show when mu Catholic ni. E kodru baby a power code the trimono. Edian wo ye the Deportation Act. Deportation Act. And penifo mienu ye jiwomo adia go manom ofri kofodua yesi adi repatriate na Africa Kumasi. Amadu babanom ene ye pam wo mu nyina. Enu kura de na nya yi. Ukofa Prevention Detention Act. Dr. Dankwa mo omodo ba ye. Dr. Dankwa unya daji na kenkai papa no a. In fact, ya nya de when you were in power, you celebrated Dr. Dankwa.
Anyway, but Eric Fa, you know to my send you let you be see Fatu so na me fa open discussion on AI no. Cement for adicrata be na ehu.
And say ne yaka.
Ehu, but sa wosaka Fatu so ma see na me hwe we have for cement or abroad the to so ma me MBA no say cement, a chamber of cement manufacturers Ghana. Omokrata omode ababontin signed by Dr. George Dawson Amwa PhD as was a bishop was saying the Honorable Minister of Trade, Agribusiness and Industry petition for urgent review of increased FOB values on cement raw materials. Yintien. Was we write on behalf of the Chamber of Cement Manufacturers Ghana to respectfully draw your attention to the recent significant increases in the free on borders FOB values applied to key raw materials used in cement production. These revisions introduced without adequate and stakeholder consultation have imposed considerable cost pressures on manufacturers. For instance, clinker has increased from $40 USD, okay, $40 to $136 USD. It has increased from $40 to $136 per metric ton, while granulated furnace slag has risen from $3 to $40 per metric ton. Such increases appear inconsistent with prevailing global market trends and threaten the competitiveness of the local cement industry. The implications are twofold. Here are the twofold implications. We're saying higher production costs due to increased duties and taxes, and then 2, rising cement prices, which will negatively impact construction, housing, and infrastructure development. And now what can add to us? It is yes, FOB no a free by about free $40 to $136 per metric ton. We a year cement Chamber of Cement Manufacturers Ghana and no matter petition and I come trade minister. Yeah, we go fast.
All right. So the kind they na make as a John Mama so be see dwaye dia school bia no. E wo NDC manifesto 2024.5.3.3.5 e wo honom. Wo de no eto nchen a adwadifo die yi etiefo de make nyina no. This is NDC's manifesto. Etiefo nwe me ntwa ntroda enum na me ko tu dia free. Na de tie nie so hwe eye adwadifo de no a eno na economics no me nya de enti no. Na hunu professors ni bi omo ne me eye ho adwuma na me de abekankaye no. Na tie ha eye page eye just a moment. Catch me. Na even go to na fe me nhase emfiri ehono. So
okay, it's no ya ebisi ado matwi na doso. Na quotations no nkotu no brofo nkwa no amena matwi a eya na enkofo entiase.
So me di bi matwi for mon fan tell.
Aha, it's no
ni crowd ye make nyina no. Na sa penitwi version.
Aha.
Nti ya mo first camera ni mo. E wa ha. Thank you please. What say? Osha what say you rationalize duties and charges to ease the cost of doing business. NDC manifesto 2024 page 30.2.2.3. And to restore prudent management of cocoa board to revive the cocoa sector page 41.3.1.2.2. And many boy misra na jena me twene sa na sa misery. And the cocoa board no no akogu yo. Ni emra jadifo de no so. Okaya ma jadifo de oka say you reduce VAT.
Yes.
But many pa me no odo amko finance and odo amko Bank of Ghana no. Esiama record obi anim. He was standing trial. Banks egu ye esiama na totobi kwa yi oda ban kwa ifie. Atu forcing was standing trial. Even there were cases via no and amamfo answer dante when he was the deputy. Obabi onu koye deal sikasem bi ni and what do me. This atu forcing we are talking about.
Yes.
Ana unkai. Onka say issue. Enti chese awudifo pa anu akọ mabom. Totobi kwa yi oda ban kwa ifie.
Okay.
MPP to on mono. And into dru baby akane no na ye ni oforiata empanifo ni bi kane ade no. You must identify your constituencies. Ye gidi sadwadifo. O mind ko ye because private sector. Nti ani adwadifo tena. Say MPP nya kura no a eze Clinton, eze Canada moa. Kasa kura no mo de bemma wo no. Na wakoma to yem. Enne de no kwatena yiwo. Yeso muadie. Ade ba kwa MPP anya de nse. E ba ye yen customs empanimfo a egu habo no yen fi wo mo enkrofo e ba ye yen promote wo mo nkrofo but wo mo ba ye nkrofo no o ma juo mo nyina fi honom on transport we kra biem Dr. Baumi akika mafunu na kama dampan si eba bie wu a yesre yeso woni pa eba nwoma yesua che wo mo momia nkai momia nyi afunu yafunu tungu da se sankrofo NDC fo na da de onu kwa kan kusi ajaben hu yi sanu onu wo honom no NDC ni a promote no so ti ase enti abusua de eniema ekoso no adwadifo de Dr. Baumi akanya nsasem se ba ye be ma flat yi ana
okay
wanka
ka se e be pegin to e first
adwadifo mo ante Dr. Baumi akodru baby as typical of him, so gentle, nice. Na adwadifo nwa humetie nti do wodom nti okoka sa GR for nyema mo ye mo adwadifo ye di na tem na adwadifo na osenka moto abama no montin was original ye obi ka bibi ma Baumi a
Debbie
Baumi stood near waban mu na nso democracy yan yete ase cha abrofo de ba yi nti no na GR for can say wunu kire vice president yantimi anka hwe na da nye time ye kofa adampare bai regional minister Henry Kote yes 1-2 kai be ye di bebom deputy chief of staff asenso mete yese menu adampare mo agene ka najo na me friend am so the great ampa o ya meti taxi
ampa
oh yes
and manti
oh asenso airport ha
no minister no
why minister no ye create niam bia say democracy no but perception so steady perception our politics ma me fa ni agro e bra sa no it embolden the citizenry ebo mu so MP for kromani nya den
ampa
it embolden them and yes pursue ye ho dan pare kutelo bi ono ye regional security commander no ye Henkote no dan pare si won tu ne kan free ho
na wanya den
no wanya den
o la nwa begu ha na
and ye try na ye fe o ye ti democracy ase any member ho na ye self-inflicted. We exposed our ministers. Now, Papa ya okolusu okadei. You have finished former MP. Na ya cheno ka
ofosu asamwa.
Enyo ofosu asamwa. Ofosu de so no wako wie. Do no ofosu asamwa e call 3 a year no buy. Oh.
Sir.
Yes. Ono call ye okọ one time. Enna masebo ese wunti.
Ayi ye che no
you can say do you know me
Westland
you go papa ye na say tam
gempa bypass
on fancy kamwa ye miemra power ye ba wie ya ye ntime defend said people but they will lose short ya se ye guna na say enti ye ba bi on me say ya mum ye nyate nkam free ho ni ye mfa Ghana the mindset the psyche of the people and ye betimi de o manatra and never be adwuma ya koye kodroi si enya ho hye so kakra yenya odo kakra de maye ho e na anko ye se tumi ni ye di amaye de ya enke be masa ankofo we amambofo yi enipa nyamesuni wo mumu yi ombeba ena dwadifo tese areho na akaka dollar bafom okoka dollar bafom
inflation dollar bafom inflation bafom yet import duty cost skyrocketing
nanu miami nua pa ba ko a mene no wokuma se na nyame abo a ban ba wanya ba bia kohye na mene no kohia is it UTV na brantie na dollar menya adaje ma ne kasa wie ya na so no wonder because you people know you always maximize negatives and you minimize positives. Nobody is against macroeconomic stability, but it should reflect our micro. Enti enkwaya da na yeden me papa ye bofo da bia so udi nkwaya ye nkwanhuru na papa no wokọ no okumabo ana so kokoton yansa wo that is what you are saying. Me ye dwadini ba akosua frimpo ma ba na mtie enti wo ka dwadini a na waka me enti me nyadaje tie wo mo nsam sam wo kumase sam wo nkran me what takrade me what Cape Coast the first place a medical kwadwadifo wo mo asitem ti say
me ko
na de man ye gen say de ntragedifo ma nisa ku o mo no say e man de doso be madwuma gu a wontim fa pan siniti e ye man de soro ahomache etu kwadwadifo a no waka yen ene koko fo a Ghana yes bofo watu ama ne koko fo a ye say tesemini a uka areho na jomama asem okan mo ma ne wure mfie o say na akufo ado say bedu election a ene wo fa ni padwuma meanwhile no wo you be oye historian na one study history ye at least 1st degree in history the culture because na akufo ado ba 2017 enipa 2012-2016 yɛn fa ɔmo nyina wantwɛn election yɛ mebo ana but na samro de ntira godin wo yɛ me dance ni me kan say efiri na ekwesa dwom mama yɛ bibia no a is it because yɛ ya ben election ntira na enti kokɔ akuafo no ananum asoma ɔka no sɛ next year wɔtum a ɛyɛ election ntira
nanka
ananya sa de ɛyɛ teachers and nurses so yɛ na dwe so ɔfamo a ɛyɛ election ntira
nanka
because no any formula onyini wɔ kasam. It's an apology to communication.
Medase.
Na niema wo ade usuru akire.
Why me so why?
Nti yanke kam kwa
da be time nsa. The time nsa.
Na say fe kwa makasa be
da ne tife form. Obi ho a ye ne kwasam ne say o man na etim no NDC frontier sim bi no muntie ne the MPP no. Anya MPP say no ya na ba yo. Mabra akwaje munya iska kofa akwa me nkroma fra bruche ba ye no ye na adwen say obakunkum ma pam ho. Esi bi amono so. Te say Yesu asuafo no. Senua no obi de ho ya dane ne tife form obi ho a ye ne atwene nan ne mu atemie no enso still a Christosuma ngu besi ne Rollins the revolution be cheche empanimfo ebubo obi tu a ye hu ba bi ebi funu na se MPP no ya still a survival enye na John Mahama dictatorship we a opeso de ba no no bebre yese ama MPP agu ye tiase na ebetumi awu ba se de JB dan komugu ya another generation asori ama MPP aba no we may all die they can decide to kill everybody. But another generation will come one day. Kwame he, John Mahama, His Excellency, me who so a dictator check.
I wish for MPN4 Takase, ye de yeona anya wo ya ye nja wo fire da. Se say the MPP amonyokuo, one more to call do papa. O ma hu se baabi a se de aba be draw Ghana ha no. Enye mra ene de bu o man, ne mom ye de katashi, ye de ene den ene de bu o man nti o mo so buofo papa ye o mo kire mo se. MPP4 NDC4 omonda no monwene hunhunu se sadi aban bi betena so 8 years nso yeso ye a omo so baaye no saa no motena so mfie wo hakora no ebeso ama aban foforo nso abanti omo yi wofo nsa omo hwe omo nsa yi pa frisa ye denia ebeduru omo so na abusuya onim se saa de we a ekosoi ebi esi mfie bi a etwem ema former president J.A. Kuford na nutum ofre Mahama eka kire Mahama se Mahama asem wa aba na wodi akuma ena ebekum tontom yi eho enhye da hia se otu sa na mon ye woka bima menka bia mamuyo mu de na enso so ase wode mra na hye wonsem ena wo ye nyema bia ensem fata His Excellency John Dramani Mahama asem wa ka kire J.A. Kuford no se ode bulldozer pa ene bekum tontom ema sie dunkatia mu nyina keka bi se ye de bulldozer ene be chese na chese obi fumu a esi ye de mmara na ye adwuma na ye hwe na nipa na asem ye hwe ne ye ka no mmara kwan so no ye nka ne saa wo ofie saa ne abo awura ho ne abu punu ne ne abechew ne de wokọ ase Rollins kwan ye ofa so ne Ghana fo bi no mu di ya omo ye se entwa yi no saa genua bia saa moja koro no abi ena eda so NDC mu a ene ekoso yi na ene MPP amoyokunma de hie bi wono mu twahia ene nsem o maka no kire se bre na se MPP nsusu ba ban mu a ekwan bi o mbefa so o mbetwe NDC fo nsusu o mafoma so bia no o mbetwe o maso ewo mu se o man ne de kabima menka bi ene ebu o man no de na nsusu ene NDC fo amomahunu se enye kabima menka bi na emom ye de ne den ne ahoden ene de ebu o man no wo hwe kwan a NDC amanyokuo wono mafaso a wono etwi MPP fo ewa abo so no a na kyese ya de ani enyan eden pa de ema wono nsoso ababa ya rehosem o ene omo ka ne sen ena wono magya ne sen mpanifo bebre no ampodo ma no atum afa nsensem ahodo ya ekoso yenko na yenkokotie bi ensem a wo maka se bre no mo ba ban mu a ene NDC fo mo so nyina yie na kyese wo man Ghana ye kwa na se ye ba ase ye wakabima menka bi mu de na susu ye mfa nya adwuma obia ba ode na koma so ade de hia no ene otu hu na mo yenko na yenko tie nkoma twetwe ne be Padaroma mesrese me video e obe like e de amame share man nkoto afoforo afen susu ne titiro no fa wadwen kire bra na ye nyina ye hwia mu ade
Mr. Dennis Kwakwa ne papa na ye crachini do ya ne nsem bia oyende utimize crachisem na ya na afrim kakra Kwakwa me wa che say
Kwame enye
intibida o
onza men kan bida
so obi so bi pass the what is that was enye blankly sir
yankasa enye
why
Kwame o man na team no say Ghana a problem pie won say obi afren so that sorry no de me bi nto no na chese bibia ye wo man sa problem ye wo pa
okay
saa be na yebu yonko da no da na em say ente ase na maybe police depo mahu se mabru no bebre wo omo koye medicals eno nti no bibia ye ma omo as far as they are concerned em ekoso enti so twam no du patasa na the two su kra na kwa me ka bibia so betwam akoye ne de because of friends say bibia nto no kwa me na ye kasai teacher for ye fa omo adwuma 2024 and I'm quite so omo ikoye demonstration wo Accra edientia kwa me 2024 from the month of May and MPP are buying process are there friend clearance say the teacher for adwuma edidi mo ma be start adwuma August be start adwuma September before say ekoto aba me menim teacher for ni bia no maka chem so ye nkrofo ni bia katua ba ye mu kakra ye staff ID ye sankai entime na me wa access to education ministry and entime no mu didi nkoma ma mo chem say problem sabre na ye won say public services commission e make sure say offer nipa no form adwuma no me 5,000 krana they make sure say ba ko bi e ko payroll no so a onko bro de clearance ye de ama no so ma government payroll nti omo na delay process ne kakra ba omo guso omo twene kakra kakra me e mabru no bi gina so ka kire say no nti ombeto aba TMPP omo ko tutiae kwame no nye first time ma hu bi the year 2008 na president Kufuor afa nkrofo na binim se bi party for youth employment na bi mada na president Kufuor de aba na etua kasabre na ye pekwa ye befa so e benya source of funding e dedicated say ye nya eno to ha na ye hu se time bi e befo bi youth employment wa katua na ye nya ye no na ho ye koto aba December 2008 kwame me kromampo menim Kufuor be 40-50 dom good dem no mo kasa on kasa on beto aba tie bi ko makatua kam 2 months omo koto aba tie da ye free ho January NDC for so no 1 week ni yi omo nyina adi omo akatua ankam yi omo di enti de na mabunu yi teacher fo bi ye no omo di nkoma bi antie eno a omo WhatsApp group platform so obi say the greatest mistake your friend say why you wanna bra bomu nyina na say uti NDC for ano 2024 no sa to abama wo o se na bra bomu nyina no o hwe mistake why you so pa no so kwaji omo di ye nanso kwame say de tie bia no omo ye Ghana for and na me no ka say omo so omo copycatting last month President John Mahama na Minister of Education Haruna Addo society minya kokodo the letter ba wonten say no ye teacher ni kura na se bi hawo na kwa me opa so copycatting and so ye demonstration ya untumi demonstrate bra ye school hours this all demonstrate after school it is wakatua kam na o kira de olora na ye say oba be demonstration won kran China nkura no po school train na no afaka free lora obeba na aka dan si ho no be demonstrate a kire dan how on earth sanade any point me demonstrating kire ni power fa na dwuma na onim se me right to demonstrate no includes all there ehia all time na friends me fa nya dwuma na better no se me ni ho se me kwa demonstration na se nkura no ho anka better na wo aban no kura hu se me problem no a on solve ye na ya be affect wo o man no. That is how Omapushu Bakodo. Na me no ka say Omampani John Dramani Mahama tumi afa plane akọ UN headquarters. Akọ jina akọ ka kire ewiase aman nyina say ye metua reparations about slave trade. Kwa me slave trade nya 1400s o ba bi na si ye. Me wa omo de no kra ye gitum say ye nananom ewiase bi ne ye ani ne ye ntino. Ye ntua bibi maye. Na wo bi ye adwuma okro we mu. Obedi ade first time nkrofo ye adwuma mfie miensa kwa me otumi trans decide say wontua omo ka bo so miensa pe na abetua ahye agu besi nda wo ka say wo de nkrofo ka obetua reparations wasa akwa ba bi o teacher for you omo start adwuma bi akatua ka mbo so me du 9 no wa ye from omo payroll so omo pay slip for so kire say oni omo ka bi sa na se kire o man o ba ye no ono NDC for first time abedi ade otumi transe ema double salary kura otua bi ma ministers ediye otua mo mudiye na okoba bi no kwa me o se ye to abaitu John Mahama ne na NDC for December 2016 December na ogina so ko sign se nyina hini box site na e ho no so na ngusa na de na nyina hini box site anya fe kura nyina hini town rules box site dey 2 year aye interchange ama ye otamale na here box site na ye kana no ye dey 100 km asphalted roads Kumase ye dey aye bi won kran ye ntu ye mpo no Ghana fo nyina nyamfa so oko san sen ka de manu Ibrahim anya yi no ba bio se afi de oba na kese pa Ghana gold nyina wo se samanu ya
zamanu ya wai
ehem fa no mfa manu ya ka kire me ka kire
de
emu de no mfa ma no
on fa hwe mu
ana no nyina no de dama ya ma no
na dama na
wonu se black voter akwaje
no dama no oh eno na
ka ona ni mu cheche
yeah exactly okay dama mans na person okay him for now him for there na e go face na mo tam so na omo de ma aban na ban ye na juse
onya botre o ma kwa me cheche mu for na
omo de ma aban it comes back to the government na ya
president per the constitution mineral resource of Ghana has been vested in the president.
What's the difference? From now on, mining companies, and I say Adibiano, private people to mine it, to also tender, so that they can also own a mining company, just like a bigger scale like Anglo Gold, N0nsense, and so forth. So this time around, government is giving it to private individuals, and then 4 people. Okay, nipa 4 now no. Engineers and planners, engineers and planners. We are say Ibrahim Maham Adia. Okay, no on a winning bid
or winning in our capacity. Over tender, me we respect kwa tender 2 billion idea where do more than 2 billion. What in 1 week I open tender on what to be na sabi o pure from ham we
also want me chichi
what pure from ham we o microphone now kase mu no kura no se wo open tender what in 1 week no be open I want say be of ham
tender na o kana nipa na NSA we EMP free ma nipa companies trainer kana why na ebo bisubo o tana o kubi
me say dabio
now why what do say we open tender am so omo koe no why na aba banti ebeka say amba me koe no yes me koe no media na juicy than EMP me koe no why na aba banti okay me just
2 or 3 no I'm telling you.
Why do you want to cry more than the police before? No.
No. But I've been ahead of a tender committee.
Your argument,
the argument say I've been ahead of it.
Mr. said, I issue about Judge N. Amando Nsemiye Basu, Yene Honorable John Dako, Edi Honkomo, Amawaka. And maybe some say, is it an isolated case? And can we treat it as an isolated case and as a judiciary no and a beer should be abahuana ama mo fi say a having
Kwame no kwasa na say o manet no NDC for ntiasim bi no mnteni the MPP no anya MPP say no ya na ba yo mabra kwaje munya iska kofa Kwame nkroma fra bruche ba ye no ye na adwen say obakunkum ma pam ho esi bi amono so to say Yesu asuafo no asɛnnua no ebi de hɔ dane ne tifɛ fam ebi hɔ ye ne atwene nan ne mu atemienu enso still a Christmas ma ngu besi ne sɛ Kwame Nkrumah ntimi ngu UP tradition Rollins the revolution be cheche mpanimfo ebubo obi tu aye hu ba bi ebi funu na sɛ MPP no ya still a survival enye na John Mahama dictatorship way a person de ba no obebre yese ama MPP agu ye tiase na ebetumi awu ba sɛ de JB Dan Komugu ya another generation sorry am MPP abano we may all die they can decide to kill everybody but another generation will come one day Kwame hwe John Mahama his excellency me who so a dictator check a dictator and then we do offense we do baby a obaye Ghana fo nyama ese som no anu ntino no boni bia odi no man we mu anaso ne nkrofo kwa bi mfa so ba power no person bre obi ase e mo bi nka bi because okasa or nyame John Mahama cannot be our God. Ye ntua ne ka e man de ohia bia wa na brabo mo nsan ngi masom ne se nyame. He cannot be a God and 20 years it's a very simple matter.
No we one
ya to aba ayi no as a president. O say then
a warning.
Anya warning. Maybe opa no warning me say I am only admonishing him so who so nipa onye nyame.
Na so on kasa o nyame.
Na say John Mahama onchi.
Ne ye. Ya say opese ye ni nyame.
Onye sa
when he
Trump
was when he was a former vice president, former vice president and a president for free power. Now I better as a former president. Na Canada Japan say me be so Canada Japan ko can be a votarians so I be no person de basa. They arrested honorable Canada Japan. Come the first president Kufuor. And no obu man be that in check as oh no. Mommy and toya, but we shouldn't kill a fly with a sledgehammer. Or babonti be tramp or say or the bulldozer crying the become sa fly. That is what he came to say as a certain vice president. He called people baloney, foolish, or say members of parliament, questioning a choir yefa to the Ghana kuku. Aqua heje, a loan and near Quajan or China, no, a disable me quasia for so more question. Why government was taking that decision? And now have the president view. All friends said, Mubi and Casa. And now, okay, Sam George, maybe the picture be man on the platform be one Casa. Oh, to make a fire and grow for so many dwarfs, a Japadia dwarfs. Not TV3 for every day. Also, more a cartoon be a friend of tilapia. Or to be fair, who certain president the Kufuor no my and Prequasabe who defear. They were doing all that for you.
But me one point.
Meba.
Now until
no point and me could judiciary no.
Oh no, in the American say if that's one or more yes I did no. It's a same na yen a catch on your catch on no more yen
President Kufuor can say that be President Kufuor akwa you aketo bi na kubusa na say me sorry me hu de ye media num me nsema nkrofo ka den ti na otumi show ho so say as in his life ade na opanyina na oman a obi abetumi aka na adwene and as far as one Kufuor ye concern no friends say the right thing as say sinti na nkrofo kan o adwene o man. It is the reason why when he got the opportunity to become the Attorney General and Kufuor, idea you what you made the kind of Oba repeal criminal libel law. So Oba Trana Kwame somehow you know man to me a Pawagina, who's really a fan cuckoo, fan 12 years. And said Kuba couldn't
but you see that the ye charging na ye the alternatives no. Should it also be insult?
To Baba Mando as an attempt to do. I say you promote a fight against LGBT.
But ono say police for no amaya who charges.
The officer of the abundance so I could post to picture.
Okay.
Ya share Sam George and President Mahama Nef Kwel Kwacha atari a chese LGBT colors the show muntino LGBT. Oh please, one can show me LGBT for. You promote LGBT and I say ebia no nti kwa me yesi kwa metiwe. The names will be as or sebe phone ti I kwa meti caricature. O sebe what I say, no, now, pursue say,
cartoon, and I say,
AI pictures.
Okay.
And I'm on colors and no show, I could post to an okay. And I'm coming judiciary as some now kind, and they're hard, you say. Evans, the 2 year lawyer, where your lawyer, Evans, and I'm a free court. So could do court, not Kwame, you don't could not come say, why you be a more bill and I am more bailer. I am commodia a course between a judge, lawyer, and the prosecutors. What I say? Or no, Baba Mando lawyer and has so argue say any partner some more than my near the Kufia Onera. Prosecutor and so Jijam would train a Chinese that be Nipano. Minim said the old year, Mujano qua. Mershana Mihuno. Where dear? Prosecutor na judge no busane say akwa mo hwehwe na be wose e bihwe na be unani time bi a olifia ba be pese nya ne bi ebenya no then judge wo say da bi wo no adwenu mu no wo na woni asem no ema one side na wuti afanu the other asem no ba yakra so akwa de be hwe na membre the lawyer so mo hwehwe na time bi a ba mo judge no say da bi emfa no koto asem we bi si wo Ghana hada the catcher must say President Mahama, dear warrior. I'm not
President Mahama who
Kwame. President Mahama Shas, the catcher must say. Sir, Chief Justice not the second, so not in second we are. And Yama Munu busy. He's going to embolden judges or friends from the NDC for Wakumum. I know my dream. And then 2 judges who are neutral friends say, as well, the justice. A mass in Biabano own to me because so said the Chief Justice crying, I didn't know. Ya kan ye in the bedroom be no civil case bia no a woni aban benya abekoko to abedi bimda because every judge watra ho aye adwuma te said toko no ye emfie do wodi judiciary mu ba bi do atwe ne reform no obi an sacrifice na bra bossa in the bedroom be they are not going to speak as they have to and at the same time na kofi dwuma fie kwame hwe
who can vaguely
o me hwe ni ye and now to fie obi to be kofa atare no the mask asenanim no about the 2 people European there so they Ghana for bit me so say can for reata by force ma can for reata obi a waso mama ya wi a oto ha yetumi ma ayijapa efa tu ko wura ne dem aso okoto no se tu kra na no person de bona nkode bebo no se on sa fa na homra because omana chere say yentumi mo obi ahoban Kofi Dwuma has been arrested more than akoto afiase mabusa na nsem bia mo pese mbusa bia Kofi Dwuma is in this country any time mo pese mo hia ne bia no mo frɛ na mo nya no then nra but to me as man crofo yente ha and I mean you am akohena o regional minister boy bi odi na cho so national secretary so pay regional youth organizer akwabonte akobon kro no so akoyede ami ache no what it means is that the people who are parading themselves as national security no one can still be wicked and criminal people. Now on Crawford, they are show money more coffee ho. Say, yeah, brave papa invitation, say your program or rat trip about so first media no near. And tomorrow found car was said, but who you say, only pan need him come on. Now Crawford scale, or more promo remo. Or much shop blocks when the gate at you know must scale over there, gate a refuge. I could boon it die, or more Konoman San Coca, or what the Honama Kono. Eka, who are or Baba Wana. Omakoto no na yemhyehyɛ na ɔsɛ afikura do pɛso enu yin na mɛma mi road na ko gina washroom ɔsɛ wuro ho na yɛ de ɔyɛ na nsa na yɛ de opi. What is this? Tabu say and yet to her ama president Mahama hwɛ saa nyama we nyina ma ne kɔso kwa me sɛ no obi mpɛ wasɛm a obetumi ahyɛ bibia wɔ nanim no aba ha abɛbɔ tuo bi kɔ ɔba ɔsɛ national security saa ne address obi aka catch say you could that is their modus operandi na nsɛm a yɛ ka na yɛ nka because MPP no ɔmo ntumi ngu no that one they should get it. You bet me a walk by MPP, the UP tradition will never die.
All right.
Oh, but trackers MPP.
All right.
MPP who say because of friends who are in election. Nipa will lose election and you won't say John Mahama in 2016. So be your takunya so pay you near Pamno with a margin and be mad. Okay. And then I was we will under President John Mahama. Sir, dictatorship now what they through the box about no person near Juma. I make an answer my men can say 7 days, 15 million worth of
my boss
7 days.
Okay, right here on Pure 95.7. Yes, sir. Also, me bu microphone no. And boarding.
Dedi kan me sure say lawyers for be 8 here. So obi e kan asem e fa ho na asem no enya e de na ye odifemu a de na ye. Enya civil suit na ye ofa. Even enya civil suit. Number cho we criminal we a ko remand obi no e kire say. Onsa asem we no nyanse bia nim ofa kwa me. Nyanse bia nim.
We contempt and I say
contempt. Publication of
what I mean is I'm talking judge in the conduct no. Judge in for contempt and I say ordinary court give for na appeal for who's it you when you go to court say a prosecutor na etime ka say nipa ya e body kwa be
case
mi fi say nipa am de buy if he say me hwa me hu no me hwehwe me jarama no kwa bonte a e bia basa kokos dam yinti judge me so fa no ko she mam yesa na yero
yes
na ekusi ya
dabi ana me ka tro say and some way nyina ekoso no obakwa me obi atrasa na adwene hu anyansa bia nim the kind publication of false news me obakwa me say me tanishu image now me my post picture bia unu the picture na magu anim asia you file a defamation suit against me. We are civil matter. I didn't there's a Roman Dobi. And I'm a Martin Pobu versus Attorney General 2016. Yes, it's even Globi Kumo be a bellable offense. You're fun on tour. Now, I'm a more fool. I mumu NDC boots is here. As a Ghana had no for coming, Ubia Dean Kofun Timinka. Last 2 weeks, Momunim Kuka Sema Bay. But your producer, Kachreno, video no, or more my
video bang.
And so now force out.
No, we can't authenticate the video.
Oh, yes, of video no say. So as now was a MP on a Greek minister. MP na Greek minister. And now, ya papa ye rari kupoku ye to about 2024. And somehow can Ghana ha you the starting 3 years now force out. Kuko akwa no. Boss I would say omi beto go 70 million.
President, my authenticate the video.
Say, Koko Akwa declared wanted. That was an avos out. Oma declare Papa no wanted. Minister of Agric wanted. Say, and some now can no man no me in one. If he say, I buy tea cocoa so mu da.
So a minister.
Oh, a minister say,
as
soon as I to a Tuaba, walk up a parliament 16 years, 4 terms. What can so much man for your man for to Obama? Ya tea cocoa so Ghana as soon as out, ya produce 8 regional and national best cocoa farmers. Yes, soon as out. What can some way you about way by ya overcome and now course on out a hotel or and ya free shall me who be that. Because 85% of your mammy papa no munano a cocoa no modo. Overcome mati cocoa no so. Dear Yakran Meno Casasi of a Meno Casasi, and next okra cocoa or Ghana ha, now the cockratching you are, catching is canoe, and then. And then, and no cocoa for the first time, and now who could don't baby I carry cocoa, and yakin to send cherry, now cocoa ya do long class saturn of a couple who's a builder.
Then they.
So cocoa, who cook or a crumb, a glassy, no say a cocoa ya de and a carry box. Olonka and the editor cocoa of a couple bida. And Nasabia, Minister of Agriculture, who summer course was now for South, Sabio Yang, and the Yamwa Quatramra Sebejum do and Fiat Dunsia. Overcoming Yayam what the MP, at the Deputy Minister, at the Regional Minister, who the Buna Bedi, Ashanti region in Nakao, and now we are Cabinet Minister of Ghana, we are Greek Minister,
already President,
who constituency Ufre. Who constituency Ufre, young cocoa farmers you produce, and now who munamu, Nasabio. Abaya bana ho kire say na mo ada na amehia amanfo nka kire mu unko kire mu kire mu de ntia mu na ma ho kire mu ada na unko kire mu kire mu ena ya declare wanted we ko agric minister omu hia no
fine
agric minister January kopoku koko akafo nto mu hia no
awo he
awo so na fusa say no nyambe
eno video na de ba
o ma declare wanted
that too. I won't hear an somebody declaring one.
Oh, my declaring one test or moon, no, my no more be. Because one no, our car said cocoa, or you better on 70 million. I buy a Sebi Asati cocoa bosso about 25 million and Sebi the cockroach when you're catching in Watono, or more you have no moon. I have a press conference. Me pato, a cocoa for her. Cocoa for me. Cocoa for na cocoa for her. A press conference. Oh, man, yeah, I was not only in cuckoo. Kukum and I almost say almost say ye omuampino omuhuno na ensama omuampino kachire no no e kachire omu no omu ba ya no omuntimi omuhu ba bia onam omuhu omuampi ba bia owo ensama o kachire omu omu hwe so to abama no no wadada omu na sabi omu hwe ne se nka ampi mra na nko mechirechirem de nti omu nam sa ahochire ni mu de nti ya ti kokko obu so Sebio na nadu danko akufu ado bona wadi free 4.7 ediko 31 million na musupa super no sana na akufu ado 3 more day no entia so na afusa atfo nto abama no na ba sebio wagisi se omuso mu de mu 31 ne sa
okay
31 ne sa no yate so na omu hwe omu ampie mu hu no omra no mechirechire mu kire mu de ntia sebio ka kire omu so beto koko 60 million bag enne 25 million no kura no o me de kokra chi no mo so nyesika no kokwa akuafo no nsem mo kan no esi misrawo ya dig o ma declare MP wanted edi ba bia ya MP obi asa no pay so tie ya besre no say so na afo ni mansini no a o ma se na ni monya mfie dunsia no ni kokwa akuafo no a o mo to abama no o mo so mu hia no omra no me kirechirem de nti o mo na ma ho kirum na mu wanted no ma declare no
okay
abakwa me me Yeura Akando, Minta Kando. You see, I'm on your four, any NDC, Mr. 2028 campaign. MBB and Gahu, Yakofa any NDC video. Omokano Nra of a near Bonadia. And the war who heard now, we are a few minutes later. Get the campaign 2028 channel. A few minutes later. Our government no producer, mama ni videos so nko mo na telephone.
A few minutes
later. Our government. Yeura President Mahama. Ya beto about 2024 elections. On the various nursing training colleges. Yama yenuanu maya sebi omo nursing training a. Omo wie sukua. Na bi adwuma sam ho aye den sebi anu kan bi ntina na akufa de kofa agenda 111 bae. se na be ye betimi aboa no manya ba bia koye adwuma no yewura mama se o na na kufa do nipa bo MPP nipa bo nini na on the oba automatic posting yewura mama yai abetra so 2012 to 2016 of Kwame Walker na nado dan kwakufa do baye or clear backlog nurses from 2013 to 2015 what yewura mama ntimi afa na na kufa do be clear mo o ba ya wonam na sa de we de minim okoka no ntotoro so entotoro so na mampanyi kan so nurse for mama ha mo ya buy automatic posting not cam ya de bobako of me ama nurse for ekoto obama yenuanu NDC nurse for abatom tumo mo nya abato ketwa no mo to obama yenuanu NDC wie ya of me yewra mita kando na nsane na aba bedi di nurse for atem of me yewra mita kando health minister wa ba bedi di nurse for atem say oh say de ye de ye nyanke be for ye sika nso kakra ye betimi bia na ye befa ha of me
one can say I just say what can say na kan ye what can say asenka bu mo say e bia na no kra no mbati ba no kra no be kan de o mi ga say no meti
of me na nurse 40 hoy nurse 40 ho nurse bi o makasa asemu ya kyerem na nne o mampani asemu akachema dada ye nurse for of ye the same thing ewra
Haruna do so offer 50,000 obi no offer 7,000
ewra John Dramani mama
14% no deliver
the same thing and no ka kire teacher for of Kwame no nim the nurse for ke de ya of Kwame nursing since time in Boria nyina no ye clear in batches so be we 2012 no be we 2013 2014 saban clear or started from the odi kan we 2012 no the aba subsequently of Kwame for the first time ye nuanu NDC say omu tifie nyina no omu nyina apply at go na of Kwame dia na ye say oba e bia o school son and our school daughter woni ni wo school na of Kwame ye aba be ye nursing recruitment no ya fa no of Kwame wo odi ka wie no tifie na onim dia ya na sane na ne hu letter be from National Secretariat of NDC National Secretariat of NDC ye rafifi kwete e na assign ye rafifi kwete e ka kire enu NDC for say the various constituencies no omu form committee the constituency chairman, the constituency secretary, the constituency organizer, the constituency youth organizer, the constituency woman organizer, MP and the DCO. None say omo apply ni nyina no. Omo make sure say 60% ebe NDC for.
Any other ben.
Avanansa ni na letter by I can say letter.
Mboro e no kre.
Oh. Ava, make sure me the letter be send.
Ntinya me time na de be send do the first.
This is what is happening.
Kwame.
Kwame, this is what is happening. And this we are nurse ni. We are nurse ni. Kwame, we are nurse ni.
How change that is no.
We are nurse ni. Kwame, we DC form. We DC form.
What's the form you miss?
We are nurse ni. Nurse who ko apply na amfa wa. Excellency say slot no. They demand this form.
Be charitable.
They demand this form.
Be charitable.
And let me know can say 20,000, 15,000. I know mutia.
What my news can be a very popular.
Be charitable.
This is what is happening. And then said on the school placement, you know.
What am I cry?
School placement. So him say Azuma Beka say omu ye place wa. This is Pieska. And then no can say Adam Abana say. You know nice and so no omu Pieska.
What's the
Boni say amamu ofuwe ọba mi entiminka ejapade nyina so wasasa ulu amamu
boni to to be akasa
amamu ofuwe ani etia yetiminka whatsapp
ya na edu charge no edu charge no ko onim de oka
moro oni he
onim de obeka say
okro mo ne say sane ma say no ya trade bia meka we have individual differences me nem ensem bi o ha me abispo committee mintiminka brava obi betimi aka Ghana no Oye chapter 5 of our constitution article 12 na freedom of speech a fundamental obia timi kire na adwen
na oncha wadwana diatem
obia kire na adwen where Martin Pebu versus Attorney General 2016 Supreme Court ruling 5-2 judgment yes even obi kura kokum nipa no kura na e bailable offense Supreme Court so obi akum obi kura no a bailable offense na dia bone na waye eno ahwede si court offer say prosecutor yɛde obi kɔ court prosecutor no ɔno na ɛde n'asɛm judge deɛ ɔsɛ woyɛ wogyina mfimfini
woyɛ referee
deɛ obi no bɛka no ɛno na wode wohwɛ so de ayɛ adwuma ne yɛde obi aba na prosecutor wo judge bisa prosecutor sɛ ɛho bɛhia sɛ yɛbɛremande nipa no wɔse daabi because mehia no a no asɛ bisa bio the second time ɔse daabi sɛ mehia no a mɛkɔ akɔfrɛ no the third time ɔfa ɛkyerɛ sɛ judge no otwe adwen prosecutor no adwen ɛsi biribi so
ebi a ɔda dede wɔ nti bi a wante
na wo wie ya o se maremande of what remande ne sɛ wayɛ den ɛdi investigation na prosecutor ne kɔ ya sɛ baba amando outside obey interfere ɛdi enti ne remande obi unless say bi a person say o person opane no
okay
ɛno nti kodam other than that you remind obi said the beya say ye investigation bia or interview over interference ne say any pa akoka asem e de ade pa no betimi interfere with say be hwehwemu a prosecutor asem na si nura no of areho na you see asem ade a ye wura mama ene ne NDC wo munya hunu ye ne say MPP eye similar mistakes e kire ani ba ye ho so no na ye ka and politicians that's in Shadia. If I see where the Omuye, almost MPP my bed, they don't know. Yes. Answer, oh yes,
data for small dinner.
We are buying now target opposition. No position, be a big crab or fu, a be a tiada. Now to show Gum say, Umomu regroup. Hey, BBC or Sunai. Avako Sunaya, Bono Regina.
Yeah.
We all know MPP. There was a sharp division between the Cheremes. I'm Yawana Soma, Obiawan and Kola. Where a brand new Munina incident in Sieno, Ubauno as much remen cry. They went to the police station. Maxoma Mamo.
Okay.
Say it should be built. No more cast yen and come. A joyous idea now. Oh, my opposition no crack album.
Okay.
And opposition Kabuma, they will come and fight you. Henry they see dancer they see or Senra Mazo of Mazogovi Maview.
And then a house there, they say, eh, when then some is you.
Say, yes, say a yoku, Papa Ukraine, anyhow. Now Yoko Kubo Renny Fiaku Buni Dayani. As a son near my say, as a documents and laptops. A dear Namoko, Yako investigation of a son near my Yansa. Say Nippani, a dear, if you should move Ben Kona Mupesa Moya, a Nippani will know beside the documents on the farmer.
Now, have they requested for those documents from him?
It's so sad.
And now has to be on farmer.
It's so sad. Papa no Kransunia. Why? Why do we do this to ourselves?
Okay.
And over here, when the Omudi Abronye. First time, no. Judge or come animal farm judgment and then you promote to the court of appeal.
I don't know on deserve I say.
Over deserve the share ruling now, yeah, mimicra lost to the
one promote
of I may say. Some natural of I know that China being cozy as some of your Ramahama when he was in opposition.
Sunday.
Sir, MDC lawyers no, Omunya ready. No about Peggy the judiciary. Or before these lawyers are yomu judges.
Obia ya promoted the piano. He was promoted on merit.
Mr. Debut of
Obia ya promoted I did from circuit court to high court, from high court to the peace court, from the peace court to the Supreme Court to piano, based on merit. And now and I set benchmarks and now and I set criteria you can do. But I'm saying say they are promoted based on merit.
Of Ambacho, why no? Avambacho, Asamubia,
you are running a commentary. I am stating facts.
Avanya fact. We are subjective.
When I want to say subjective.
Asamubia dance in one. You try some who be near the aya dance here.
Tasam no.
Yawaha. And a man Penny John Dramani Mama when he was in opposition. Asia NDC lawyers. A catcher almost said the judiciary is not balanced. No money ready, no oba. Oba promote you, mama appointment. I'm a judiciary now balanced. Yera mama na kai ofanya me nam kai. And oba ye.
a judge akoma animal fab judgment way ama all lawyers all judges obi eka ho asem ade akyes ya promote to court of appeal ne duka asem we a enye no ase ekotwa na anu asem no hu bi adanse to say the okan na wo ye so hunu enema na yekoso no enye fe no for na yenu no NDC say no mo be de ofa na ye say central prisons yadum any is our own prisons of any no go biemu ofa because say no me no betin for papa. I'm telling you adwuma agro no offense you na yenu no NDC so be kan say mo ya ye che no basinteli ye che no edia basinteli sa pictures ye ya almost baba amanda ko post on social media handle to mo che no basinteli am post the same picture anan period no yes am jamfi aid one post the same picture yeni ana basinteli ka say sebio yewra ibawumia oye kramoni dia sebio ade o mumpe ene pok preko nanso yewra bawumia da bia we preko of yeni ha no ka asasem ye che no of yeni ha ade na yase of oyire wuo ya no obi di radio ni TV so e ka so no kun oyire yeni ana Peter Boa mo tu kono o ka se yewra na na dan ko akufo ado wana ku na yire yeni ayase no ade ne yeni no NDC fo yi ensambe na Sam George anka ensambe na Sami Demfi anka yewra mahama na nkasa no ye omampanyi no ensambe na wanka yeni yewra mahama ka se na nado se wonya kromfo na ninuanom bomtene gabi mu na ewiama no yeni a ade ase no mu kai na mu ga djuma agro starting mpo no master chichi nkofu yi ene omu okwantwa pa because niama mo kan ye in opposition nsam ne didiatam ne nsam am katom enkofu so no se ka se na akufa do ka se o chichi mu nyina enka mu nyina mu gu prison aso na mu nyina mu na mo obi anya mo he na mo ba ya obi akopose to picture keke o se remand na sebio judge sebio the difference between ono judge no any NDC ni so say NDC atade no no so to judge party courtroom and this judgment.
Okay, we taking a short break. What's that no?
Over not judge who na which prosecutor how to go about his case.
That be obisa.
No for na sense when mumu media for no mu kra na yesa musom kan ye.
No, I was not in court.
Mu any yesa musom kam ye because mu na da bia mu ti radio so TV so kasa.
Say first of all, ye Mr. say judge don emra ben and we busu.
Emra ben
say it all to base. So emra bia e ho se bia we busu a eno ye kan wasem. Judge no near oye no no etiatia Ghana emra so ana eno so bitima kan wasem. Ampa judge ye decision eno so nche say ye mia no say judge kan asem wia so bu aten wia ye ho kwan say so etimi kire adwen say ampa say e fair and I say
do of our adwen ni say
we are taking a short
that yen take is